talk about gratitude in relationships, okay?
Mhm.
You did say a little bit about this earlier about maintaining healthy relationships, but can you say a little more about the role of gratitude in, keeping those relationships healthy?
Yeah, yeah. So, it does have a role in really fostering better
Mhm.
relationships and really enhancing emotional connections.
Mhm.
So it helps build trust
Mhm.
and respect. So again, it's that you value what they're bringing to the table. That they're getting things done, and you believe that they can get things done as well. So I think again,
Mhm.
there's kind of this cycle with it. Um, it opens up lines of communication, right? So
Right.
when you a lot of times when you're expressing gratitude, there's again the thoughts, feelings, maybe sometimes emotions that are related to that. And so the conversations can be more meaningful. Again, just like we were talking about with feedback. It's more
Right.
even positive feedback. It's like, oh, you did a great job. It was like, well, I don't what did I do a great job.
On.
You're saying thank you. Well, what are you thanking me
Before.
for?
Right.
Exactly. That way I know, right?
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
um, and again, it's really, you know, the emotional bonds, the positive interactions, reduces negative ones. Um,
Mhm.
like you were talking, it's promoting this reciprocity
Mhm.
between people. And if you're appreciating this, and I might show you appreciation, which again, it kind of helps you both on it, and it just kind of is, I don't know, it just makes everyone feel better and more productive, and they want to help with things. And so, there's positive mindsets, there's positive moods. So there's all these things. And I think about this both personally, outside of work and inside of work, all these different, because all these you have relationships and conflict and communications that happen in both these situations. And the key is it's like, you know, the opportunity here is that the research on genders. So who do we think does this better, right? So
Okay.
the research, it's females, it's women.
Right.
We tend to express gratitude more regularly than males. And so not only do we do it more regularly, but we do it to a more variety of people. So it's not just family, it's not just friends, it's
Mhm.
also colleagues as
Mhm.
well. And so and you can link in again if you think about natural traits or empathy and social sensitivity, we
Mhm.
tend to score higher than. So we're talking about all these relationships and all of that. Again, males, have the opportunity to step up a little bit more
Okay.
on this. And um, so that's my plug on that one in terms
Right.
of
I
the
got you.
gender
Yeah.
differences in the relationships.
Yeah,
So
that definitely. I don't know where that. I'm not going to speak on where that comes from. I kind of agree with you. I know where you're coming from with that. I don't know if that's um, what the psyche is when it comes to men and how they feel about that. I don't know,
yeah.
but I agree that that might be very surprising if and an eye opener for for other men or even for women that they did get that type of gratitude appreciation or they did get that kind of feedback. I remember not too long ago, someone was talking to me about I just can't seem to get feedback, from my manager, and I don't know what to do. And so we talked about it and I said, well, what if you flip the script and kind of said, your gratitude or your appreciation for them and it could kind of shock their psyche to say the things that I appreciate about you is this, and then starting off that way and asking for more of what you would want
Right.
to get from them. So because everyone likes to feel good. And
Right.
everyone wants to feel good. So when you do get that type of gratitude,
Hmm.
it's a feel good. The endorphins kick
Hmm.
in, and we all want to feel good. So that could be a strategy too.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do we address to resolve the gratitude gaps in personal relationships? I know you said we talked a little bit about you know, spouses, saying thank you for picking up the kids or thank you for, going to the grocery store or giving me the afternoon off. But outside of that, maybe personal relationships, other type of personal relationships. How do we address or resolve the gaps there?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So,
maybe with friends, with
yeah,
friends or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. So, again, it's technology is so great in so many ways. It gives us the opportunity to have really regular check-ins,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
so, in some way, whether it's a phone call or a text or whatever, um, those can go a long way. Even when it's just, hey, just was thinking about you, just want to let you know you're important in my life, whatever, it's
Yeah.
like it's again, it's being mindful enough to actually sit there and do that. But when you get them, like it hits you, right? And
Yeah.
it can, whether you have time for a longer conversation or not, you feel appreciated, right? And seen in many ways. So using technology to your advantage, little check-ins around that, sending, cards every now and then are also
Hmm.
another thing. Um, uh, I would say also, actively listening, right? Just kind of sometimes being present and
Hmm.
letting someone know,
Hmm.
or actually truly listening when they might have some good things, challenges, whatever around that, what's going on. Those goes a long way, for and your personal relationships. And I like, even with because we've been talking about feedback. Sometimes even with asking for feedback from your family, or whatever, like, do they
No.
feel valued? Do they feel appreciated?
Hmm.
Can give you different ideas on what lets them feel most appreciated,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
Yeah. I call them truth tellers, the people that you trust
yes. Yeah.
to, not to be straight with you about it, but to be honest, just to
Right.
be honest with you. I call them the truth tellers and appreciating them giving whatever it is they tell you or do for you to
Yeah.
know that in whatever truth they're giving you is in your best interest. It's
Yeah.
really free in your benefit. They're really thinking about you. And I
Yeah.
think another one, and I just thought of that when you were talking, was catching up with people. Because even thinking about today, last week, I got a call from someone that I used to work with, and it was so good to hear from her. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And we talked for a good long while and we caught up on what was going on, and I appreciated that the fact that she thought to call me that
Right.
day,
Right.
because we hadn't talked and she's a colleague, a friend slash colleague, and I have some calls that I even need to make of colleagues or texts that I need to send out,
Right.
people that's been on my mind. And what we do is we get so caught up and so busy
Yeah.
in what we have to do that we don't take time. But some people are very good with that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? With the gratitude thing, they're very good. This person I talked to the other week, she's very good with that. You may not hear from her for a while, but you will hear from her at some
Right.
point. And so that is, you're right, a way to resolve that gap is
Right.
kind of when you think of it, make time to do it.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
what I love about that is that you don't even have to say thank you, or I appreciate
Mhm.
you, or anything like that. It's the act of
Oh, right.
reaching out that
Exactly.
shows you that you are valued
You
from
right.
that by that person,
Right.
right? And
Exactly.
so it's all about habit, right? Whether
Mm-hmm.
it's work or personal, it's all about getting into the habit. And um I am a list person. I am very goal oriented. I will I will put this on my list of things to
Uh-huh.
do, like who I want to either text or call or
Mhm.
so I know because they've been on my mind in
Right.
some way.
Hmm.
But exactly to your point, it's easy. It's like, oh, suddenly I got to do this, and I lose track of it. But when you do it, it goes so far.
And it feels so good.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really makes you feel good. And that kind of segues into some practical ways. That's
Mhm.
one practical way. But what
Yeah.
are some other maybe daily practices or any practices in general to foster a mindset of gratitude or
Yeah.
tools or techniques for recognizing and closing that gap?
Yeah. So we've talked about reflection. So
Hmm.
morning, evening, usually endpoints are better. Or
Okay.
if you're driving, I know again, people who, if they, driving to and from the office, they always do it,
Hmm.
and those points as well. Um, you know, anything that can actually be a visual reminder, right?
Okay.
In some way, whether it's something that pops up on your phone, whether it's a little post-it note that you have on your mirror or on your computer or something like that. Um, Engaging, right, like you said, it makes you feel good, so once you do it once, you
Hmm.
tend to try to want to keep doing it, or what you've done made someone else feel really good,
Hmm.
so it's kind of, it's reciprocal, it's reciprocating in some way, and so it kind of puts it higher on your list of things to do. um, and yeah, just sharing it and so expressing it in some way really helps with it. So again, I feel like the more you do it, the it just becomes a habit, right?
Natural. It just
It,
becomes natural. Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
For you. It's just a natural part of you. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But you have to start somewhere. That's
Exactly.
you gotta start somewhere. So um when thinking about the technology,
Mhm.
because it's so influential
Yes.
in our lives, and social media as well. I mean, it's there, it's the
Hmm.
influence, AI, all of that.
Hmm.
When we think about the future of gratitude, how is technology or social media going to influence gratitude?
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
predictions you might have about societal views on gratitude and how it may evolve in our society.
Yeah. Yeah, so part of it there are apps. So whether it's
Oh,
journal
okay.
writing or there are gratitude apps out there to help people practice it. So there's like
Oh,
I say like there's Headspace and Calm, and like they either for that there's journals, reminders, meditations on
hmm.
there that will help you with it to focus more on appreciation. So there's technology there to help support you on these things. Social media can be great for this and it can be disastrous for this,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So the good thing is that when you have social media, who you do find people who make these expressions, right? Really to the world about what's they have to be thankful for, and thank you messages or notes or appreciation, thank you for help me stopping and changing my tire, I didn't know, I see these things on like the local
Hmm.
our local Facebook pages, and so and that's awesome, right? Also for campaigns sometimes on social media where they oh, so many cards or so many this or that you're trying to drum up people to be thinking about others.
Hmm.
Um, and on the flip side, social media can be really disastrous
Yeah.
when it comes to this because it can be so critical and negative and complaining and not thinking, like you said, not thinking about the other person's side, because it's one-sided and and it can really just bring you down and
Hmm.
not want to appreciate anything, not for yourself or
Right.
for others or things like that. And so the social medias is really it's you got to balance that, right? And
Right.
what you're looking at and how much you're looking at it. So
Right. Yeah. And I think if we could just think more about the social media and making it um, looking through the lens of making it positive, making
Yeah.
through the lens of gratitude. It's sort of like, on the negative side, people catch on to that. You want to catch on and it's like, keep it going, keep it going, keep
Yeah.
it going. And if
Yeah.
we could just flip and maybe start showing some gratitude out there, and appreciation out there, and let that catch fire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that can be work. I don't see why that couldn't work just as well, or use social media for that. So that it's sort of like a double-edged sword when it comes to
Mhm.
social media, and it just depends on what side of the sword you want to use. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And so you could be you could be the champion of
Mhm.
gratitude on social media, and it could be something that could really catch on, and people would be like, you know what, that like you say, how not showing gratitude, appreciation, how it affects you physically,
Yeah.
okay, and mentally. Just
Mhm.
think about the possibilities that social media could use if they used it in a way that could make you feel good with
Yeah.
showing gratitude on social media. You do see it out there. It's not like you don't. People will like a post, or, they'll say something good about what they liked or what they saw or what you said or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's not that it's not out there. It's just that it would be nice to see that as the majority of what we see, as
Yes.
opposed to, the things that kind of bring us down and make us feel emotionally unappreciated or emotionally bad. And
Yeah.
especially for, the younger generations, with
Mhm.
the bullying and all of that,
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, yeah, we have to lead the charge. We're the
Yeah.
ones, that have to lead the charge on that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's again, if you want to challenge yourself, because we
Hmm.
talk about things that are, negatives, but you know, part of that is even jealousy, right? So
Yeah.
around it. And so challenge
Hmm.
yourself on it when you see things that you're like, oh, I wish I could do that. I'm like, no, no, you spin it and you can acknowledge it and say, oh, I'm so happy you could take that trip.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
expressing those things can really, when you're not feeling that, again, keep
Hmm.
challenging yourself because it will change you. You
Yeah.
will feel differently.
Yep. 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 Appreciating what others are doing. Not in
Exactly.
an envious way, but just
Exactly.
appreciating. And it's like, that's great. I'm glad you're having that or doing that or whatever the case may be. So
Yes.
for sure. So, but Teresa, I want to thank you for coming on today. What else? Is there something else that we can talk about when it comes to gratitude that you can think of
Yeah,
to
I
kind of
would,
start this off?
yeah, I would just say probably it's like, there's so much important to this. And I see things continuing. It's going to change a little bit, and
Hmm.
it's going to continue to have a greater importance on this and how it can actually um, be what we might see in organizations more so moving on. So, as we're talking a lot about technology and social media and stuff, the world in many ways is getting smaller, right?
Yes.
It's getting smaller. And we were talking about like in Western cultures, we tend to say thank you a lot and tend to be a little bit more verbal. It's different in other
Yes.
cultures. And
Hmm.
so as things kind of become, more apparent, or again, more the melting pot, I guess we'll say that, we might see some differences in how people are picking up on how expressing it. So, like in Latin American countries, it's less verbal, it's more expressive, it's more action
Yeah.
oriented. So as you see that, I wonder, I'm like, oh, are we going to see a little bit more of that?
Uh-huh.
um in Asian cultures where thank you is very much set for a smaller number of interactions. It's almost like it's more sincere, like we were talking
Mhm.
about, just saying it all the time. Oh, well, they maybe start using thank you a little bit. So I wonder what's going to happen as, again, the world gets smaller for us and we learn more uh,
Right.
about everything. And
Right.
and again, we talked about the focus on mental health and awareness and all of that, not just personally, but I mean, it's getting greater emphasis in organizations, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm curious if we're going to see more trainings, development, focus, is it going to be in the values
Right.
of organizations, or, so that, helping support individuals and build their resilience and adaptability,
Mhm.
what's going on, not just, professionally, but it will also leak into their personal world. So I'm kind of excited and interested in seeing how organizations are going to embrace this a
Yes.
little bit more in terms of their own culture and how they're going to help
Mhm.
develop it and support their people moving forward. So that just, just see how all this goes and moves forward because it's
Yeah,
an important topic, right?
it
It's,
is.
you don't
Yeah.
talk about it and it seems I would say it's not rocket science, right?
No.
It's
You're
not
right.
rocket science. It seems so easy, and yet we don't do it, or we don't do it well.
Right.
So they're one of those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, more to come, and just I say just be thankful, and let people know that
Right.
you appreciate them in any
Okay.
way, in any way you want to demonstrate it.
All right. Well, thank you, Teresa. And we'll see you again sometime soon.
All right, glad to do that, hopefully.